she could not be connected. So she has asked me to welcome the speakers, Ms. Madhumita, Mr. Shashinath Mishra, and our panelist, Mr. Arvind Kumar, and the delegates. As you are all aware, Consultants Consortium of Chennai is an association of the management system consultants, and they are organizing webinars on various subjects in the November Quality Month series. And this is the first webinar on that. And the theme of today's webinar is Responsible Quality Certification. Globally, there has been a focus on quality and safety. In India, particularly, after our respected Prime Minister, Narendra Modi ji, talked about Make in India. So I want to start with that itself. You see, in our country, why I should say in our country, everywhere in the world, in fact, the certification is being given on the management systems. The certification is, the auditing is done for certification. We have to think about the value addition. What they have done now in the new standards, all the standards, they have added a new clause called context of the organization. If I ask anybody today, what is the vision and mission of your company? And most of the people would not know it. And the vision of our country today is Make in India, the suggestion given by our Prime Minister. So when we are working on the products, when we are working on the quality, safety of the products, we have to keep in mind this vision of our Prime Minister. I'll just give you a very small example. In 1961, the then President of America, John F. Kennedy, in May 1961, in one of his speeches, he said that I want America to be the first country to land on the moon. That was in May 1961. And since the president has said that, that became the vision of the company. That became everybody has to think about that now. Because, and then they went to NASA, talked to them, what should we do? Are you prepared? The first thing that they tried to find out, who is their competitor? And they found that Russia had already sent, about 3 months before this speech by the president, they had sent Yuri Gagarin to the space station. They had also sent some satellites, but they were unmanned satellites were there. So they found that Russia, their competitor, has got better technology, better competence. They are able, so they can beat them, right? So if we want to become Make in India, we want to do that. So we have to think about that. Then what he did, NASA, then they started their policy, their objectives, everything that they made after that. The main aim was the vision of the country, and that was that we want to be first to land on the moon. And they started the Apollo mission. Many times they went to the space station unmanned, sometimes with men. They went to the space station first, and then they started going up again unmanned. They went to the moon also. They tried there also, but they could not land. And finally, in 1969 July, Neil Armstrong was the first person to land on the moon. How it was possible? Because they thought of the vision of their country, purpose of their country. What do they want to achieve? They thought of that, and everything was decided on that basis. So similarly, if we want to achieve our vision of Make in India, then we have to make sure that this certification that we are doing, that management systems that we are doing, this auditing that we are doing, there should be some value addition in that. We should not do the audit just for the sake of certification. I think Mr. Mishra, when he'll be talking of all this, he will definitely be giving details of all this, how it has to be done, how the companies are doing. And because he's a big person, he knows all these things. So having talked about this, I would like to introduce our speakers. The first speaker will be Ms. Madhumita Guha. I don't have to give their introduction. They are big people. They have been giving all these speeches a number of times. Most of you must be knowing them. She is vice chairperson of the Testing, Inspection and Certification Council. And she'll be talking for 15 minutes. And her topic is sustainability, and which means improving our environment, our social well-being, and our planet. She'll be talking about that. And then Mr. Shashinath Mishra, who is the global head of a certification body called IRQS, and also the chairman of the Association of Certification Bodies of India. Welcome, sir. Welcome, ma'am, to this program. So he'll be talking about the responsible quality certification, how it is taken care, how the accreditation is required by the certification bodies, and how they have to then make sure that proper auditing is done so that it helps us in improving our quality and product safety. So he'll be talking about that. Okay. And then after that, for 45 minutes, we'll have a panel meeting. And in the panel, we have, I would like to welcome Mr. Arvind Kumar, who is the Director General of STQC. So he'll be there, and Ms. Madhumita, Mr. Mishra, and myself will be there in the panel. And for any question and answers, whatever you want to discuss, we'll be trying to answer you for that. I can tell you that, see, everybody doesn't know everything, but since four of us will be there together, most probably we'll be able to answer your questions. But in any case, if we are not able to answer any question, I promise you that we will, please send us your email ID, and we will definitely give you the reply within a day. It will not take more than 1 day to give you the reply for that, right? Thank you very much. So I don't want to take much time, but before I request Madhumita ji to start her lecture, I would like to tell that there are some supporting partners of this consortium of the Consultants Consortium of Chennai, and they are Association of Certification Bodies of India, ACBI, Testing, Inspection and Certification Council, TIC, Association of Indian Medical Industries, Preventive Wear Manufacturers Association of India, Quality and Accreditation Institute, IIT Kanpur, Startup Incubation and Innovation Center. In fact, they are the ones who are helping us now in this program. They are the ones who are helping us in supporting us in this program also. And then we have the National Hub for Healthcare Instrumentation and Development, Delhi Food Processing Council, Global Medical Device Experts Foundation, Indian Medical Devices and Plastics Disposables Industries, Medical Plastics Data Services, and Kotakna Inspection Services. So there are so many supporting partners of CCC who are supporting us in this activity. So now I would request Ms. Madhumita to please tell us about the sustainability, improving the products, people, and the planet. Ms. Madhumita, please.
Hello. Thank you very much for the lovely introduction. And before I proceed, I want to, wish everyone a very happy World Quality Day. So this is the beginning of the Quality Week. So, it is a very, very good platform that we all have come together and celebrating that. And like, Mr. Grover gave us such a wonderful example, right, of the mission to land on the moon. So, and now people are thinking of so many other planets to go to and live. So the world has moved, and but the processes, everything remain the same. And this is a very, very, I want to thank all the organizers for giving us this opportunity. And, for 1 second. Can you all see my screen?
Yeah, yeah.
Has it moved to the next one? 1 minute. Because it's not moving to the next slide. I'll just... Okay, I'm back. So this year's theme, like Mr. Grover said, is that I'm going to talk about sustainability, improving the 3 Ps: products, people, and planet. And the emphasis will be on the importance of quality in sustainability and its influence on ESG. We are always hearing about ESG, right? So it's environmental, social, and governance. So that is the angle that I'm going to talk about today. I represent TIC Council, the India chapter. And who is TIC Council? Like you've been told that it's a Testing, Inspection, Certification Council, born from the merger of IFIA and COC, and is an independent voice of trust. 90 member companies are there and organizations across 160 countries, right? And it's headquartered in Brussels. And I am the vice chair of the India chapter. So coming back to the mission, right? The TIC Council engages governments and key stakeholders to advocate for effectiveness and that protect the public, support innovation, and facilitate trade. The TIC Council works with its members to promote best practices in safety, quality, health, ethics, and sustainability. And I'm on this platform representing TIC Council to discuss this responsible certifications, right? Next. This is the topic for today, responsibility quality certification. And my focus of discussion will be on the 3 Ps, how people, planet, and product are part of this ecosystem, and how can we be more responsible while we are dealing with these 3 Ps, right? These are, some of the buzzwords that we hear, and especially with COP26 going on: carbon neutrality, sustainable transport, low carbon economy, how biodiversity, wind power. So as you can see, everyone has become very conscious, and we are also thinking, of how we can all be, more sustainable, how we can be more, whether it is a social, economic, or governance point of view, be there. So these are, while we do a lot of Google searches, we see that these are the high trending words. So people are really, really focusing, and it's good that on World Quality Day, we are creating more awareness of these so that people are more, like, look at environmental policy here, we have air pollution, food security. So most of the SDGs are already being, addressed. So next I come to, when we talk of product, manufacturing, of course, plays a very important part, because that's where products are built, right? So if we think, okay, that the manufacturer is making a product, so what does he do? He makes a product, there is a specified need and there is an implied need. I'm taking a simple example of an electric iron, right? It should have electric current, it should not give shock, it should be heated, it should have a thermostat, right? But the implied need is, of course, that it should iron the clothes, right? So that's how I've given a very simple example to help explain how, responsible a manufacturer should be to ensure that, there is implied need and specified need are both addressed. Next, of course, is zero defect, right? So, the certification body, the testing agency, the inspection agency, they can all come take sampling, maybe the, doctored product or not, any sample product, but the manufacturer has the responsibility, right? I mean, he can send, especially now with all the barriers breaking, one negative and one viral negative comment can really create havoc. So that's the onus, the responsibility, of course, lies on the manufacturer. And like Mr. Grover said, certification is not just a piece of paper on the board. Sorry, at the back of the background, I have my hometown. That's Kanchenjunga for all of you, and the tea gardens. That's where I hail from. I just realized there's no wall there, right? So, the certification is usually a paper and the piece of paper at the wall behind you, right? So that is not the intent. That is responsible certification, where you mean everything that you say, and whether it is ISO 9001, you follow it in letter and spirit and live up to that, right? Or it is 14,001, or you're doing essay at the, where you want to really do workplace compliance, right? So that is how across the value chain, if you see my slide, whether it is raw material, material production, product manufacture, we are definitely going to be responsible, right? And also, ensure that the machinery we use are properly calibrated, so when our testing people are doing the lab testing or the inspections are coming, they should be using the right equipment. And also when certification is given or inspections are done, the right people should be sent. That is responsibility, right? Means you can't send a civil engineer to do a motor pump testing, correct? I mean, I'm just giving some arbit examples. So that is how I mean that how everyone across the value chain can be responsible. And of course, as you can see, energy is there, right? How you can, treat your waste, what do you do to the effluent, how responsible you are back to the planet, right? How biodegradable are the products you're using? What is the recyclable content you are using? So these are everything that shows responsible behavior, sustainable behavior, right? People, of course, whether the people are, in a properly trained, do they know what to use? Suppose an inspector who does, textile, maybe, the test saris. So they check the length of the sari. If they use the same measuring tape to go and measure a medical device, that's going to be difficult and problematic, right? So we should have the right tools, the right people, and that's responsibility, right? If we move to the next part, right, of using the planet, how we can give back. In the environmental, there is a lot of waste management, energy, and now you hear a lot of carbon neutrality, and also like this piece of furniture, beautiful looking furniture, the decor, right? We all enjoy sitting and enjoying our comfort of a sofa. But what goes behind the furniture, right? I mean, we have to be very responsible. Each country, especially when enabling global trade, that is what certification helps, right? So when we are enabling global trade, we respect what regulations are in that country. For example, I've just put one such example called California Air Resources Board, CARB, that, anything that goes to the US, the furniture made of particle wood, MDF, plywood, has to have this regulatory. So that is responsibility. As a, when we are, being a certification body or a testing or an inspection agency, we have to make sure that the customers are, when they're supposed sending to the US, follows those regulations, follows the correct standard. Now, standards also needs to be updated, right? Don't give an irrelevant standard and then the customer is in trouble, because at the end, it's all about the consumer. So that's my humble submission on that topic. Next, we move to a very interesting topic on sustainable packaging, because that is something absolutely necessary in today's, when we talk about all this carbon neutrality, net zero. So what is the, because we can do a lot of packaging testing, transit testing, see, do you really need all this packaging? How can you make it more optimum so that maybe more boxes can fit into a truck? Logistic, your carbon emissions come down. So everything is responsible behavior, right? And we as certification bodies, testing agencies, inspection agencies can genuinely help in saving the planet and making it more sustainable. I move to the next one on ESG. As you know, ESG is environment, social, and governance. People talk about diversity, right? That you should have gender, diversity there. Like today is a quite a good composition. And one lady here with three gentlemen, right? So it should not just be a tick in the list, right? Like Indra Nui, you would have seen, has diversity is a program. People have, yeah, you should have a board diversity, but inclusion is a state of mind, right? How you include everyone, whether it is from which strata they come or what they work, it's inclusion, which is very important in the social framework. And we should have resilient processes, right? Like today, if Chennai is down, Sonalika is there helping us from Kanpur, right? That's business continuity planning, right? That's how it should be: responsible planning, responsible way of working, right? So again, from this environmental part, I've already discussed. Social, of course, how to reduce stress, how to build, you have chief happiness officers now, right? There are new because of pandemic, things are changing, and also we are changing, and the world is changing and we are adapting. Governance, of course, how we have proper checks and balances, ethical standards, pay for performance, transparency, and of course data protection. Again, there you have ISO 27001, right? All these different standards help us also maintain these, right? Next, of course, I won't be complete if I don't touch upon this very, very touchy subject of counterfeit, right? So I think most of us in this marketplace face this when there are falsified testing documents, certification, which really creates a lot of problems. That is not at all a responsible way. So let's all encourage, everyone to really, be true to what you want, whether it is in the people front, how we train them, how we look after them, whether it is in the emission front, or how we are using the planet, how we are recycling, reusing, right? And of course, how in the product, in the marketplace, we should know what are the entry requirements into the country. We can go for proper checks, proper testing, proper, we have NABL accredited labs in our countries who really, help us to check the reliability. And we have all these certification agencies, certification bodies who have another, accreditation, like IIF, they have to really submit that. And also the certificates are available in public websites, right? So that you can really verify. So these are certain things that definitely create a responsible certification. And of course, coming back to TIC Council, these are certain things where people-related sustainable behavior that all TIC Council, members have to have this compliance. And I'm sure all of you try and follow these very, very important people attributes: integrity, conflict of interest. Like I can't, as an auditor, go and certify my brother's company. That's conflict of interest, right? Confidentiality, I am privy to a lot of confidential data. I shouldn't be blabbing that out because that's not ethical. Anti-bribery, so you look after your people, ensure that when they go for inspections, that is responsibility, right? Fair business conduct, health and safety, very important when our people are out there. How, in what environment are they working? And of course, fair labor. With that, I have spoken a lot about, responsible certifications and in the quality domain. And I just want to finish with about TIC Council, that We are in 3 areas: advocacy, reputation, and best practices. And the pillars are very similar to what everyone demands: product safety and compliance, ESG I spoke about, international trade, and of course, digitalization. These are some of the TIC members, and these are the different portfolio holders. And with that, I end my today's session. Thank you for giving me the opportunity and listening. So let's all be responsible to our products, people, and planet. Thank you.
Thank you, Madhumita ji. That was a very nice lecture on sustainability. You talked about the life cycle perspective, starting from the raw material acquisition to the final disposal after it has been consumed. In fact, that's really very important from the environment point of view, that it is not that you have to think of the complete supply chain. It is not only that you think about what you are doing, but the complete supply chain you have to think about. When you are buying the material, that time you have to see, will it affect the environment? And when you are doing the processing yourself, when you are transporting, you talked about the transportation also, that enough material should be there in the transport, so that the emissions which are there from the transportation, those can be reduced. Very nicely you have explained that. And here I would like to say that the ISO has thought about this sustainability by making different standards. ISO 14001, of course, ISO 9001 is the basic standard. They made ISO 14001 for the environment, ISO 45001 for the safety, health and safety, and now they have added the well-being of the personnel as well. And then ISO 27001, you talked about that. And then SA 8000 is also there. ISO 26000 is also there. So these standards have been made for that purpose. The only thing, as you rightly said, is that the certification should be done in a proper manner, so that it should lead to some kind of improvement, and there should not be any counterfeit certificates or test reports available. Very nicely you have explained that. Thank you, Ms. Madhumita, for that. Now I'll request Mr. Shashinath Mishra to talk about the main topic, that is responsible quality certification. And because he's from the certification body himself, so I'm sure he'll be able to tell us about how the certification body works, how the accreditation is required, and how to make sure that the certification leads to quality improvement and product safety when you have got the certification with you. Yes, Mr. Mishra, please.
Thank you, Mr. Ramesh, and good evening to all, everyone here, and especially DG STQC, Sri Arvind Kumar sir, and Mr. Ramesh Grover, Ms. Madhumita, and all participants. Once again, thank you for this opportunity, and also a thanks to the consultant consortium of Chennai. You are doing very good, wonderful job, and I've seen that last every quarter you conduct a knowledge sharing webinar, which is really appreciable. Okay, we should appreciate all. And I must congratulate to all of you for this quality month, and thank you. So given a chance to me to speak about the quality of the certifications. I will keep myself within the 17021, which is our basically basic frame line. I'm representing here Association of Certification Body India. Also, as you already introduced, I'm heading one of the oldest certification body in India, which is IRQS, Indian Register Quality Systems. Okay, earlier it was a part of Indian Register of Shipping. So recently, 2040 onwards, we have a separated organization from IRS to IR class system, because IRS is the profit organization and non-profit organization, and we are basically profit organization. So I'm heading that organizations. Let's start first, quality of certification. Yes, Ramesh sir, you have rightly said the certification credibility is the big question mark now. Okay. Why I'm telling you as a CB head, also and associations, because the way it is moving, if you go back to the 94 standard, when we were respect of the certification was different. Okay, auditing practice was different, knowledge was different. But now everyone is running 100-meter race. Okay, who will give first certificate? Unfortunate. As a certification body head, as a association's chairing person, it's always painful. And who all are responsible? We all stakeholder. And I thanks to your Association of Consultant this opportunity to speak here. Certification body, consultant, and organizations. Organization want quick certificate, fixed by quality, quick, short consultant, and certification body are running to give the certificate at the earliest. That all diluted like anything. Okay, so now it is a time to at least to look deeply if you want to save our credibility. Otherwise, one day we will be out, because the self-certification then will be more credible than the certification body. Now, our country visions, missions are going at different level. Market is opening. And if the quality of certification not improve, then it's a big problem for the country, not the only to the certification body, because the now, if you see that our Modi's visions and government's visions, inspector us to want to minimize, basically want to discourage, want to give a more credibility to the self-certification, certification body, compliance conformity assessment body. And that you have seen that slowly it is in the food side sectors and all, a lot of liberty is given, and certification body is coming out and certifying many areas, and the totally credibility is basically given to the certification body. But it's a time to now to look after how to improve our services, so that we can gain our confidence on organizations. And yeah, so with this, I'm just made a small presentation. I will speak on that in each point. Basically, is a completely certification process, and how 17021, if we follow properly, it may help us to improve quality. Okay, so I request to go to the next slides. Yeah. Yeah. So certificate organization look for the management system certifications. You know that all for product and services, not only for certification, but the quality certifications. That is a fact, because organization who apply for this, they want some benefit, some value additions, not the only certificate. So our aim is to how to give a quality certificate is to be very big question to all of us, and how to design our service so that we can give better service to the organization, and they may respect to our service certificate and certification body to this forum. Yeah, go to the next slide. I will next slide, please. This is a certification process. Simple way, I've just flow charts how the certification body work. If the new clients come or existing client, whoever, start from the questionnaire received, where we take all informations about the organizations. Okay, then we go to the contract review, which is a technical and commercial review, and based on that accreditations and all, we go to the, again we send to order quotation to the client, order acceptance by the client, then we plan the audit. After planning audit, again it go to the new client. If then stage 1 audit, that is the readiness of the certification, we check. If existing client, then we go direct renewal audit, and then different process. After stage 1 audit, there is a separate post audit. There is a technical review committee, that's an independent committee who review the all audit reports and what conformities, whatever the audit checked at site. Then it go to independent decision maker. Finally, he take decisions. If all fine, then they recommend. If all everything is fine, then they recommend for stage 2 certification. Then the auditor again goes for certification audit for stage 2. Again, post audit, same process starts, technical review, decision making by the independent body team. Then finally, if all fine, then it go to the issuance of certificate. and final up certificate for 3-year validity. Post this certification audit, again, we check the surveillance audit we call. There is 2 surveillance audit. If within a 12 months, you need to conduct the audit. If not carried out within a 6 months, the certificate may go to your suspension. If beyond the 6 months also, if you're not conducting your surveillance audit, then it will withdraw the certificate. Same certificate, surveillance 2, if you not conduct within a 25 months, then again, it may go to the under suspensions and withdrawal process. So this is the cycle of the certification bodies. They follow, I think more or less all the CVs follow same guideline. Maybe here and there some procedural changes, that's separate issues. Now go to the next slides. Our highest body in the certification, basically IAF, is the International Accreditation Forum. Basically, is the associations of conformity assessment body, who all accreditation body. All the accreditation body is a member of the IAF, and they accredit certification body, and certification body certify the organization. This is a structure work or a completely management system certification activities. Yes, please go to next slide. So our credibility of certification body. If you see the credibility, I'm just taking a small gist from the 17021. It's a big basically, but which is important for all of us to know as a stakeholder, organization, consultant, certification body, what need to be at least to save ourselves. So credibility, how you are going to ensure. If accreditation from the national accreditation body or the foreign accreditation body member, okay, then your certificate is a valid certificate, will be treated if it is an accredited body you are taking as accreditations. Again, allocated scope of accreditations, accredited IF code, which codes you have been allocated. It does not mean that if you have started certification body, you got one sector's only accreditation, like for a oil and gas, and for that, if you are going audit to the taking a business for the steels and other area, and certifying, then both credibility will go down, because you don't have a license to give a certificate or accreditation to give a certificate to the organization. So generally accredited body, they follow very strictly, but non-accredited body who don't have a IF member, the separate, so many CVs are working in a country. So more than 50% are unaccredited body are working, who was ready to give a certificate like anything. These all are high risk accreditation body. They don't have a credibility. Basically, they don't have a control, or they don't have a basically transparency system. So unaccredited body, who if a certification body, if it gives any certificate, there is no valid, basically no control over them. So that look by the basically I can say here, this organization should know that whenever you select CVs, must have a accredited with the IF member, and accreditation body should have accreditation from the IF, basically IF members. Now, credibility of resource availability and retention basically is a big, this is the problem. This is the area where the CV compromise because of cost involved. You get accreditations, but when you deliver, how you deliver, with whom, who goes for the audit? If the person is knowledgeable, experienced, competent, of course, technically you will make a good team. You can make a team with the external, some experts, and you can declare this is a competent team. But how you are justifying the person who never seen the industry, steel industries, who never seen the cement plant, background is service sectors, but you have taken only one member as expert and you are going to audit is a big plant, then how do you? Of course, problem will start from there. If the team selections, if you are sending the team any industry, it does not mean only making a team competent as per the procedures, putting one expert in the team is going to solve the client. No. Deterioration starts from there. Maybe one expert, you cannot control everything. Practically is not possible. Maybe he can clarify your doubts. If you ask any issues, he will clear you. But if auditor does not know about this sector, what question he will ask experts? And experts is now having a limitation. He cannot interact with the clients. He will only give you, clarify you if any issues come and any experts knowledge is required. But this is area where it's a compromise area. So I request every CVs, that's whenever we in the CV association also we speak. Here, of course, it is a cost, because retaining a good knowledgeable people, it's a cost. And the market is different. Maybe not fulfill the cost. That's a separate issues. But if you want to save our credibility, please use your proper competent auditor. At least if you are sending the manufacturing person must have experience of the most of the team member. Not I'm telling one person putting, a rest all are from different industries. So person from the same course, same industry, if they go audit, of course value addition will come and there everything will come out. That may we minimize our problem. So this area, look out. I will request to all CBs here, if in all, take care in this area. Now infrastructure. Now again here question marks. It's a very standard infrastructure. If you don't have a proper infrastructure, offices, back office, manpower, managing everything through external auditors, freelancer, and operating a CB, it's not going to solve your problem. Again, your problem will start. Technically, everything is fine. You can deliver it. Certificate valid. Procedure allowed. But uncertainty will be there. Sustainable will be not there. Responsible quality will not come to that. So infrastructure is very important when any accreditation bodies, accredited certification body, accreditation body must look at that what type of CB is having infrastructures, manpower and all. Of course, they are checking everything. But quality, again here question, what quality? Is a sustainable infrastructure? It is a short-time infrastructures. So these are the challenge for the accreditation body. Of course, CB also to demonstrate how you will going to sustain. Now, efficient and consistent delivery service. Starting some, maybe you have certified few client, 10, 15, 100, 200, but once you grow, then how you will sustain? So efficiently, your survey must be quality so that organization get quality from you on time delivery, everything, manages communication, everything. So efficient consistency is very important and system-based, not a man-driven ownership company. Whatever I decide that will work. No, system should work. You should have a proper team who will deliver everything as per the norms. So credibility of certification bodies, that is one of this area, Isaac, just sharing with all of you. Go to the next slide, please. Next slide. Again here, integrity. This is a big question. Now, a lot of questions, challenges coming to us. The integrity of certification body is now questionable. Declaration of impartiality of top management of CB. So is the CB top management responsible to you declare your impartiality? Stringent your process of management of impartiality, how you managing impartiality arising from the like personal interest, yeah, relationships, yeah, commercial interest. Major is the commercial interest, financial interest. Some company is a big company and he may give you big order, and if you feel to this area how to basically risk you analyze, okay, then all how to will basically deliver your service impartially. That's a challenge. Okay, so this type of thing I think we should take care of area. Risk-based approach for risk assessments, mitigation of risk, process risk, competency risk, consistent service risk, impartiality, everything you should analyze before deliver the any services to the client. Then process of selection of audit, which I have already discussed. How you select the team. It's a competent team. Of course, team is competent, but it's really is going to value add to the company, or only experts and putting as some one person competent, rest all are just to qualified lead auditor as per the procedures, team leader. That is not going to solve the purpose. So process of selection of audit is very, very important. And this area again is a question, big question to the CB. Avoidance of the assurance of issuance of certification before verification. Now this trend started because now business now is different. Basically, if you go back, earlier was a basically referral business was coming. Now it's a different structures. It's a good structure. Our team marketing going, meeting client, but don't give a wrong message. Before that, if you hint also, it's no problem, certificate you will get. If you simply hint anybody, Simply dilution start from there, because organization will not take seriously. They may assume that certificate will get. Okay. Then compromise start from there, from the contract itself. So keep distant. Don't give any false assurance. No further. Should have a disconnect. When to disconnect, how to disconnect. Business discussion is different. But assurance is very risky. So that is to be area take care. Otherwise, dilution start from there itself. Then auditors we goes also start some compromising mode. Client also implementation effective will not come. So everything, whole supply chain will start some dilutions, and it may affect to the final quality to our certificate. Not turning a blind eyes to noted non-compliance. I have seen that. If you see, analyze, I've discussed with many CVs. In fact, my CV also, I'm telling you, I'm not blaming anyone. Train is going down. Everybody knows 100% is nowhere is okay. Okay, fine. This doesn't mean that you are 100% compliant, then only you will give you certificate. So implementation effectiveness, if you are checking, but still, if you feel that the requirement is some of the because of the business purpose, somewhere you have influence, and if you are keeping just to let go and not capturing the non-compliance, not this trend basically last in the pandemic, it's going deteriorating. Online audit, fine, this good thing. You are saving time, everything is okay. You can manage online, all qualities can be maintained. But what about the non-compliance trend is going? If you see the most of the CV's non-compliance trend is, I think organizations, all stakeholder here, maybe I'm talking very blunt. Rarely people get NCs nowadays. Okay, but this is not wrong. Giving a non-conformity does not mean problem with the organization, problem with the person, problem with the auditor, or problem with anyone. This basically, it's a value addition. This is the area where you see that if anything is really non-compliance, and if the blinding your eyes, then it is not good. So my submission only, when we audit, we should have a very clear discussion how, because the client is also, if you convince properly, client is ready to accept everything. Organization is ready to accept, but only convincing how you give a certificate, why it is basically non-conformity. If you effectively communicate, no issue for that. But here trend is wrong is going, which is again, it's a high risk. Improvement is not taking in the organizations. They think that everyone's certificate is very easy, and they get also. Then not providing consultancy, solution of non-compliance problem encountered by the organization. Of course, no CB is doing basically consultancy and all. It's a job of the consultant, but indirect and direct solution also is very risky. Okay, so this area also we have to reframe. Not accepting any kind of favors, organizations being certified. Not to dilute process of certifications. So these are the area integrity we need to see, and only with this, if you address properly, automatically you may get a quality of the service delivered, and client will also get a validations. Go to the next slide, please. Again, transparency. How you are transparency with the systems. Fair and communications. Are you whatever the needs, because clients is having a right at first one subject to know that some of the areas to very open communications. Okay, you should keep very clear open communication with the client. Share with the all information whatever they needs, but not for the business purpose. Sometimes we keep hide. That is not a good. Okay, that should have a more transparent with the client and organizations. Communication of available scope and accreditation. If you have a accreditation, tell him. If you don't have accreditation, tell him very clearly. Don't hide, take a risk. Otherwise, you are also under stick problem, and the AVs also will get a here again. So without accreditation, if you're certifying any without any accreditation scopes, if you're certifying organization, that's completely wrong. You are going to be in problem only. Your certificate will be withdrawn later on. So be careful with the, when you don't have accreditation, don't give certificate without any duration of audit time. Here again, compromise because of the cost involved. Some of the CVs are mandates calculation, fine, as much as possible, mandate manipulation, all those things we need to be addressed. If it is a mandate, is a effective mandate declared, should be communicated to the client. These mandates will be audited, and the same mandates with the same to be deliver on site. If you follow this, again, quality may improve. Encourage the organization appeal and complaint handling process. If any appeal, any complaint, encourage them. There's nothing wrong. So we should encourage this area transparency. We should keep everything transparent. Now, finally, value additions. Value addition, we cannot give solutions. But if we improve our process, if we make our services more quality, if we use proper our knowledge, best practices, by default, the client will get benefits. If a knowledgeable person will go to the audit, he will ask question level will be different. His finding level will be different. Client will get from there. If anything non-compliance or any issues, so this only we can support when we will improve. If we improve our process, improve our knowledge of auditors, selections, delivery part, everything, all the problem may be addressed. So with this fourth pillar, I can say to all here stakeholder, to only if we improve this proper quality, of course, we all will be in the one day will in the right positions. And it's a good opportunity here. Consultants forum, I'm talking very frankly, because we need a support from consultant also. Now, most of the business, you know that business trend is different. Certification body is also having infrastructure. Consultant role is very big role, quality. If you give a good documentations, good infrastructure implementation, everything implementation effectively, encourage the CV to come to with the fact, come with the complete checks. And organization must also ensure and must give an encouragement to the CV. Please come with and see, because they want really quality. So this type of we all three stakeholders, we should very clearly work in one platform with the one objective. Then only one day we will be in the best position to give it away and credibility will increase. So with this, thank you very much. And over to Mr. Ramesh. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mishra, for providing insight into the role of certification bodies and their responsibility of, transparency, professionalism, and fair reporting in the auditing process. As you have rightly suggested, auditing should not be aimed at the certification process, but continuously lead to value addition. That's something very important. All of us have to think about it. And for that, it is very important that the auditors should have the knowledge about the best available practices and technology. You talked about that also. I think it is right there in front of me. And therefore, one thing I wanted to add here, you see what happens as the auditor, non-conformities can be there. We should not say, oh, why so many non-conformities are there? They can be there. We should not feel bad about that. But for the auditors, the one thing that I have noticed is that when they go for the follow-up audit, they do not really look properly at the corrective action taken, whether they have really done the proper root cause analysis or not. You see, if the root cause analysis has not been done, then it will not be a corrective action, it will be a correction only. So if corrective action is not taken, it can repeat, that problem can repeat. So that is if you really want to add value to the auditing process, please make sure that whenever any non-conformity is given, and when you go for the follow-up audit, make sure that a proper root cause analysis, and I'm requesting all my consultant friends also, please make sure that your clients, they do the proper root cause analysis of the non-conformities and take the necessary corrective action. Sometimes what happens is the consultant is so happy, oh, see, I have given the consultancy and no non-conformity was there. So what? If even if non-conformities are there, you see, the auditors are not policemen. They are not there to give non-conformities. They are there only to give, some value addition is there. They are just trying to, they go there to verify the conformance. And if by chance they are able to find some non-conformities, now the important thing starts from there. that the moment they have told that this is a non-conformity means it's a gap and gap from what the standard says, what the criteria says, and what they are doing. That small gap is there. So we only have to find out why that gap has come, what is the root cause of that gap, and take the necessary action on that, so that that problem can be solved forever. So these are some of the things which you have rightly suggested, Mr. Mishra. Thank you so much. I think all of us should make sure that the certification bodies that we choose for the certification, they should have the proper accreditation. This and the scope of accreditation, our scope should be included, and make sure then as certification bodies, we should make sure that our auditors have the proper competence, and they have the knowledge not only of the criteria, that means the standard, but also of the legal requirements and the customer's requirements. They should be very clear about that. And on that basis, if they do the audit in a professional manner, I think that can be a real value addition. They should know when they have gone for the audit, what they have to look for and what they are looking at. If they are not clear about what they are looking at and what they are looking for, then it becomes just they go there, they start asking questions one after the other, but they are not very clear what they really wanted to see. So that we have to, I think that requires to be changed. That kind of, and code of conduct is also very important. You have rightly said about the code of conduct also, that when the auditors go for the audit, they have to be very fair and open in their communication, fair and open in their report writing, and they must take care of the requirements of the accreditation. Every accreditation body also has given the code of conduct practices. We must follow those code of conduct practices and make sure that that leads to value addition in the auditing process. The auditors, they cannot give suggestions, but there is a requirement. They can give all the based on their experience. They can always give some opportunities for improvement. They can give those ideas, little bit ideas, so that some improvements can happen because of their audit, and that audit leads to an improvement in their practices. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mishra. Thank you very much. Now, friends, we have next is the panels, the panel discussions. So I will request Madhumita ji also to please, yeah. Yeah, Arvind ji, I would request you to start.
First of all, good evening and namaskar to all of you, and my special greetings to Madam Madhumita, Shri Shashinath Mishra ji, and Ramesh Grover ji. And I'm thankful for giving me an opportunity to participate in this program being organized by Consultant Consortium of Chennai. So this is a great honor to me. There was an excellent presentation made by both by Madam Madhumita as well as by Mr. Mishra. Mr. Mishra covered very detailed about the 17021, the requirements for the certification bodies, how certification bodies should conduct in terms of various issues related to the credibility, integrity, transparency, value additions, and all those aspects which all certification body needs to have. But certainly, if I look at the quality certification, whether it is a responsible or it is otherwise, we have to see in the perspective in today's context. Having a quality certification had been a pride for any organization and for the certification body. When we say we have certified so and so organization, and such a huge organization, a complex organization, with organization in a very typical domain, it used to be a very pride, and it is also an indicator of assurance to the society and the consumers at large. But in the recent part, we have seen that there are increasing incidents where quality certificates are sometimes misrepresenting the whole concept of quality. So I think in today's discussion, I think this topic which has been chosen by the organizer is very pertinent, and the kind of challenges and the kind of issues which are being there in the in society, in the market today are enormous. Some of them are basically, if you look at the whole concept, although I am from the certification body, I just want to, okay, let me say 2 minutes about myself and my certification body. I am from STQC, Standardization, Testing and Quality Certification. We are part of the Ministry of Electronics and IT. We are a government certification body. And as far as the ISO 9001 certification goes, we started 1990 itself. I think we were the first one along with the Bureau of Indian Standards when we started the whole certification game. And today, when we were the pioneer in this area, and then we continued our journey of management system certification of 14,000, then coming to 27,001 and other standard, ISO 20,000 and other standards. So that's how we have moved in the up in the value chain of the system certification, and we have been very actively participating in the Bureau of Indian Standards in formulation of the standards and giving our observation and comments on that. So STQC being a government body, I must tell you that when we started, because I was part of that team which started in 1990 about ISO 9000 certification, we were very clear about the accreditation requirement as brought out by Mr. Mishra. Accreditation is a must. In our country, there was no accreditation body. The first one we started with BSI UK, we went to the UCAS, thereafter we moved to RVA Netherlands, and till the Quality Council of India was established and came into picture, then NABCB accreditation. It is for all management systems. It is also for the product certification. Probably we are the only and the longest accredited certification body in the product safety domain. So we have never left ourselves unaccredited in the whole journey of, I think it's more than 30 years. So we are in this business of accreditation. We understand the value. We understand the kind of the certification which we have to give to not only the organization, but end user of the society. So our responsibility lies beyond the organization. It's up to the society level implementation, how the whole certification is seen. So that's how we operate. We work, we as a government, we do not have any kind of business interest. We are not a profit-making body. We are a central government organization. That's how our interests are, our integrity is highly maintained in terms of our service delivery and the processes which we establish within the certification body. But if I look at today's issues, that certification is becoming a kind of profit-making business activity, which is very, very unfortunate in today's context. As rightly pointed out by Mr. Mishra, this is a 100-meter race, everybody running and trying to get the certificate as fast as possible. There are a large number of certification bodies operating today, and the numbers are really not known how much it is. Maybe it is on for the accredited certification bodies, or maybe for the unaccredited certification bodies, the numbers are really unknown. So due to all this large number and the competition, certification body have started using some kind of practices of convincing their clients, their organizations in getting certification to the different standards, the standards which are not the requirement standards. The basic problem is that all these certifications which are supposed to be given against the standards, the standard making body like ISO, IEC, BIS, we all develop standards. When there is a requirement standard, then only the certification has to be given. But there are standards which are also the guidance standard, or maybe there are other kind of supportive standards. There are organizations giving certification to those standards as well. If you look at the example of 27,017, which is for cloud security, and the 27,018, which is basically for code of practice for personally identifiable information, or maybe 31,000 series of standard on risk management. There are a number of certifications being given in this domain, which is very much incorrect and unethical. See, there is a role of certification body, the organization seeking, as well as the consultant. We should be made it very clear what standard can be given, again, what standards the certification can be given, what standard is a guidance standard, wherein they can take the support of implementation. There have been umpteen number of reminders given by Indian accreditation, International Accreditation Forum, the resolutions have been issued about only the accredited certification should be given to against the requirement standard, but nobody is listening to that. The problem is all these guidelines and the advices are only for the accredited certification bodies. And there are number of unaccredited certification bodies as well as which are working in this domain. So we have to be very, very careful while we are selecting our certification body. My appeal to the consultants who are participating in this program is you please suggest a right certification body, the number of right certification bodies wherein the client can select. You should advise them about the kind of standard which can be given the certification for. It's not like everything cannot become a business. There could be some best practices, there can be certain certificate or certification. So we have to be very, very clear about everybody has to participate in this program. Another problem I see is there is a very low awareness level amongst the user organizations. The user organization, if I see, there are many organizations in the government sector, in the service sector, they are in the health domain, they are in some kind of procuring agencies. So they are really not knowing about the whole game of this standard compliance, conformity assessment and certifications. So they get cheated in the whole process about their whole certification game. So we have to be, all of us have a role. It is not only the certification body, consultants, everybody has a role to make this an accreditation body as well, to largely known to people that this is the standard against which the certification should be taken, not any other standard. If anybody is giving certification against any other standard which is not meant as a requirement standard, please don't accept those certificates. And the certificate has to be from the accredited certification bodies. So such kind of loud message should go from all of us. It's not only the one organization can play the role. All the stakeholders should play this role in this game. See, we have found that the unaccredited certifications are, so many bodies are doing unaccredited certification, giving certification body there. They are not following the international system of accreditation. In our country, we have NABCB, which is giving the accreditations. And I think most of the good certification bodies are already with them, but we have to weed out the other ones in this. So if I look at what we are supposed to understand out of this, why at all a responsible certification is required in the country, we definitely know it is, first of all, as rightly brought out by Mr. Ramesh in the beginning about the Make in India program, the Atmanirbhar Bharat program of the government of India. If you look at, we are looking for the national image building. If I am issuing a certificate which is from which is an unaccredited certificate, a certificate to a standard which is not a requirement standard, then I'm not carrying the right image of my country itself. Yes. And it is not only the country. See, the world now, the business is global. The world is connected. Whatever I do here, it is seen elsewhere in the world. So I should be doing what protects the image of my nation, my country, position myself for the business, not only in India, but also globally, I should be able to perform. So that is a very important thing besides the business ethics. The business ethics should also convey about the need for a accredited and a responsible certification. If I look at the acceptability of the certificates, which brings in the trust among the various customers, end user, regulatory bodies, societies, and global community, we should be able to establish that, because the trust is the first thing which should be built through the certification process. The responsible bodies in this are all, not only certification body. The role of certification body has been brought out very, very deeply by Mr. Mishra. But I suggest that everybody has a role to play here. And fortunately, we are in the consultants program. And so at least these two bodies are there which can play a large role. But I should also address to the accreditation bodies. Accreditation body has a very large role here to play. They have to do a lot of campaigning. They have to do a lot of publication, a lot of media campaign in this area, and announce about the need for certification. The right certificate, the responsible certificate they should always address such kind of need through various social media channels and other kind of situations. If I look at what responsible certifications can bring in, who are the major stakeholders or major contributors. It is all the people, process, and technologies. If I look at the people, the people's, as rightly pointed out by 17021, requirement about the integrity of the people, integrity of the certification people, integrity of the auditors, integrity of the consultants, integrity of the implementers, and they should not get influenced. And they should be accurate reporting and accurate kind of the decision making should be involved in that. The kind of impartiality, the independency which is required to maintain in the whole process should be done. The competency of the people, as rightly brought out, a steel industry example was given. The competency of the people in the auditing team, while selecting a team for any particular scope sector, it should be rightly pointed out. It should not be only a person from a different domain should go to that domain. They will not understand anything. End of the day, we are going to look at the processes, the records, the data, and it can be only understood by the person who can understand those technologies and those processes. See, end of the day, the auditor, I always make this statement to my juniors whenever I go for, when I had been going to audit a long time, that when you are auditing anybody, you are also being audited. So you should always give the value additions in your audits. Without value addition, your audit is nothing. Because if you have a vast experience going to different organizations, the best practices, end of the day, he has to improve his processes. End of the day, he has to improve his quality of the product or services. What is the resulting out of the whole this organization? So I think the competency is very important. Objectivity, the unbiased opinions, it should be very, very clearly brought out by the people. This thing, and the processes of any organization, whether it is for certification body or the accreditation body, it should be well documented. They should have conformance to international standard, ISO, IEC standards, or whatever standards being there meant for them, whether it is ISO 17021 or maybe for 27006 standard for 27001 certification. We should ensure the impartiality of the decision making through an independent body, as brought out in the flow chart given by Mr. Mishra in the process of certification. And it should be very object oriented based on the organization's goal and intent. The whole audit should be done. I think auditors have a major role to play. Certification body has a role to play. The auditors, the consultant also have a larger role to play, because this is the consultant forum. I'm addressing the consultant. I'm requesting them to take the organization along with the right process, robust process, which should lead to the benefit of the organization. In the end of the day, it's a market is global, the service is global, we have to deliver globally. The technology implementation is also very important. It really brings in the transparency in the whole process, and transparency is very important for the responsible certifications. Transparency, we look at the security of the whole processes, the user friendliness, accessibility, the portability. These are the very important factors of the technology. So if I look at the how I'm going to look at the total improvements, so I'm looking at for the responsible certification, quality certification, as I brought out in my talk, that everybody has a role to play. All of us have to play a role and ensure that the end product is not a certificate, it is a certification. It is a quality product or a quality process which gets delivered at the end of the day. So there has to be ethical conduct by the certification bodies, ethical conduct by the auditors, ethical conduct by the consultants, and I also give some kind of responsibility to accreditation body in taking this whole thing further, because accreditation body has to also work continuously to take all the certification bodies together, even to bring the unaccredited certification bodies into their domain of this thing. Because end of the day, we have to ensure that there is a minimum number of unaccredited certification body. That is possible only through a good amount of campaign, telling everybody that that kind of certificate has got no value in the business. There should also be the calibration of the certification bodies. There can be a process which again accreditation body can design such kind of program. There can be the calibration of the auditors from different certification bodies. So these kind of approaches can also help in building up the responsible certification, knowing the best practices. It is making the system robust, starting from the implementation to the end delivery of certification. That's how we look at. I think with these few words, I take rest to my talk, and thank you very much. I'm open for questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Arvind. With your rich experience, you have given a lot of fruitful advice to the consultants, to the auditors, and to the accreditation body. Particularly for the consultants, it will be very helpful that they should prepare the companies in a proper way so that during auditing, they should not look for the certification, they should look for the continual improvements in their systems. And in the selection of the certification bodies who are accredited on the particular scope. Thank you so much, Mr. Arvind Kumar. Very nice. Now, the panel is open for the questions. Any questions from anybody? We'll be too happy to answer that. Mr. Jori, the first question should come from you.
Yes, there is a question in the chat box, so if you can take it.
Yeah, Mr. Jori has already written.
Can I see the question? Sonalika?
Yes, sir, it's in the chat box. Should I read it out?
Yeah, please.
So Mr. Jari is asking, would it help if India were to mandate that certification can only be carried out by non-profit bodies, thus taking out profit motive?
Yeah, Mr. Arvind Kumar.
I think we should not bring out any rules specific to India. The standards are international. The game is global. So the practices being followed in other countries should also be followed. It is not only bringing out the certification body out of business or out of profit. No, that is not the motive. The motive is to have their robust processes and their the kind of ethical practices they should have. We should stress more upon that than to bring them out of the profit making body. So I think we have to work on differently, not making them not for profit. I hope I'm clear.
Yeah, Sonalika.
Sir, I don't see any other questions as of now. So it'll be nice if anyone from the audience wants to ask any of the questions. The chat, the Q&A box is also open. You can type in your questions there, or alternatively in the chat box. The panel will answer your questions.
I think Mr. Jori had another very important observation that, CBs are being closed on corrections, NCs, and not on corrective actions. I think a very valid point there.
I think when I spoke of that, that root cause analysis should be done at that time, he wrote something there.
Correct. I'm just reading the chat box.
We should also give a focus on the extent of analysis, closing NCs with the root cause, but extent of analysis, if you go the same NCs, should not replicate in other whole area. So root cause, complete elimination is very important.
Yeah.
That we need to be, extent of analysis should be more weightage has to be given.
So I'm unmuting Mr. Anil Bhatia, who has a question. Allowed to, yes, Mr. Anil Bhatia, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yeah, thank you very much. And my good evening to all panels. It was very nice discussion, listening it from the last 1.5 hours. Thank you very much once again. My question is, we always talk about that our certification body should be accredited, which is very right for adding value in our industry sector. But unless and until some compulsion is there from the government, from the IAF, how these things will be automatically taken care. How we can ensure that our certification bodies has to be accredited and unaccredited players will not be there in the market. How we enforce that? That is my question.
Mishra ji.
It's a big question, sir. It's a basically, since it is this ISO
I think it's for the
certification.
organization to decide whether they want to go to the accredited body or just to anybody.
No, but Mr. Anil Bhatia is having a very right, and this is a problem. There's a problem in the country. No one is regulatory body is looking after how to block. If you go to China, I'm giving you an example. I have a list experience with the China. People talks so many things, okay, bad, good, everything. But I've seen the control over the CVs. Okay. In fact, once we audit, all the report checked and uploaded in CNCA. Okay. And they track next who is going, who is the auditor, he checked or not corrective actions, and they come back. This is already open, your auditor not checked, please circular and notice issued. I've seen. So why not? When everything is the best example, nothing wrong talking with anyone. Okay. So if something is good with the other country, why not we? How to take? Maybe the regulatory body is not coming forward, then take accreditation body. Somebody has to be measure, monitor properly. I don't know. This is a very open forum. I'm talking just simple throwing without any much depth. Okay. So this question is very valid. Unaccredited bodies, so many bodies. Every day you receive one email diluting 5,000 rupees certificate. You believe 5,000, 10,000, like that people are giving mass mailing. How badly, it feels very bad. When I saw this type of mail, mass mail, we see people are giving a mail to across the country, communication in 5,000 certificate is available. Who will address all? And ready, people are some see MSME, corporate, they are good organizations, but some of the new company who started, that they don't know basically 2 crore, 3 crore turnover, they're struggling. They're struggling, okay, for business. I agree. But this, which non-accredited body giving offer, why the 5,000? Even if it is a printout cost only. So it's not a small, it's a high quality quantity basically. 5,000, and they're cheating simply like in the country. Lot of cheating is going on. How to prevent, how to stop it? I think it's a challenge for all stakeholder. A, B, C, B, consultant, government role also very important. Why government is not, when we are encouraging to compliance more, not so many conformities area, we are like testing and all, so many things. Government is encouraging, okay, so we'll check testing everything in India. But what is the control? I don't know. So this I think Arvind sir is a big.
These questions on the accredited certification bodies should have come up when Anil Johri was still in the job. I think it is too late. Poor fellow cannot do anything now.
No, he is doing very well. He is trying best to at least
He's doing
all
everything, but he was in the job, he could have done better.
So Bhatia Sahab, your answer, I think it will keep open still. I cannot close. Surrender. So big challenges, big challenge.
So
Well,
can we take another question?
Yeah.
So there is another few other questions in the chat box. We can probably take this as the last question for today. I can't read the name. They're asking if most of the organizations are not interested for certification. Also, they are just getting just for 5,000. They are getting the certificate. How to resolve this issue? So this is a question by Ms. Sundari, I'm guessing. So if we can just take.
So what he says, there are some certification bodies which are selling this certificate for 5,000 rupees. What should be done about that? I don't think any of us would have any answer for such a question. I'm sorry for that.
All right, sir. So there is another one. Probably that can be the last question for today. It is by Mr. Ajay Tiwari. He says, how to deal with software validation, the critical part, which is the critical part of MDR.
Arvind ji, I think this question is related to you.
Mr. Tiwari, just elaborate what exactly you want. Validation of the software is a part of the process, the quality process. I'm not able to understand your question. How can I get elaboration on that? Sonalika, can you just repeat again?
Yes, sir, absolutely. So Mr. Ajay Tiwari is asking how to deal with software validation, which is the critical part of MDR, and that is what's
MDR. Not getting his question. Anyway, software validation. Software validation is a quality process. Any software which has to be validated as far before it get released and all. So I think I'm not able to understand this question. Sorry.
So he's probably raised his hand, but Mr. Anil Johari has also raised his hand. So would you prefer that I unmute him and he can take up his question?
Yeah, please.
Medical device regulation. Okay. I'm not expert on medical device regulation. I'm getting the point. So maybe someone else can reply.
So Mr. Anil Johari, I've allowed you to talk. You can take up your question.
Yeah, Mr. Anil Johari, show your face also. You are a very important person for us.
We cannot hear you, Mr. Johari.
Have you unmuted, Sonalika?
Yes, ma'am, I have. I can clearly see him. He is unmuted himself as well, but we cannot hear him. Would you like to move on to Mr. Ajay Tiwari? He's also raised his hand.
Yeah, Mr. Ajay Tiwari.
So, Mr. Ajay Tiwari, I've allowed you to talk. You can unmute yourself.
Hello.
Yeah, Mr. Tiwari, please.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Good evening. Good evening, all of you.
Good evening. Good evening.
Sir,
Good
it was a very nice session. First of all, I would like to thank you, all of you. So my question is related to the MDR, sir, which is actually being a practice in 2017. So it is mandatory as applicable in the 2021. So all the manufacturing need to comply all the standard or the notified bodies as per the MDR regulation. So MDR is basically the standard for the CE certification for the manufacturing unit of the medical devices. So my question was related to that. If the software validation is actually mandatory field for the MDR, the critical part he has changed in this. So in the manufacturing unit, it is very difficult to do the software validation. Like we have the sealing machine, we have the molding machine, we have the assembly machines. But the software validation is a very difficult part to us. We cannot actually, we can do the installation we can do the installation validation by the external provider. But in the other kind of instrument or the machines, we cannot do the software validation. So how we will deal with that in the future? So that was my question actually.
Mr. Prakash Bachani, I think he is willing to give a reply. He is a head of medical equipment department, BIS. Sonali, if you can help this.
Sir, it'll be helpful if Mr. Kothananda can just raise his hand, so it'll be easier for me to unmute him. He's willing to answer. Understand. So yes, I've allowed him to talk. He can take it up.
Good evening, all of you. due to power shutdown at Chennai, I could able to join the session only at the fag end of the session. Extremely sorry for that because of this depression, climatic depression. In my view, the MDD and the MDR, the latest version of MDD is the MDR, totally new this one for medical device. The software validation is referring to the software if it is associated with the medical device. We may be using CNC machine, or we may be using some gauge R&R, or we may be using so many other things where software is associated. That validation, I don't think it is called for here. Here we are referring, if now let us say the interventional oncology or cancer device where the needle is inserted on the human body. For that purpose, we are making, or you call it up MRI, or you call DR. Such devices, if there is a software build-up in the operation of the device, that only it is being referred to. That's what I personally feel. Is it okay, Mr. Anil? Am I answering to your point? It is not the various software which are used in the various manufacturing machineries or equipment which are used to manufacture the product. It is not meant that.
So as per you, this is not mandatory, sir. This is not mandatory as per.
No. I'm repeating again. If your medical device has a software embedded into the medical device, there is embedded software.
The devices.
Yeah, then only it is applicable.
Okay, means if you are dealing with the infusion set, transfusion set, and the other kind of syringes, so it is not mandatory at all.
Syringe part, I don't know, boss. I'm not exposed to.
So this is also the.
I only exposed to the interventional oncology and DR, MRI.
Yeah, sir. Yes, sir. You are related with the IVD section, in vitro section. So this could be a. Okay, sir. I will take my question to someone else, sir.
No problem.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Manikam wants to say something on this. So Monica, I think if there are any other questions, those can be emailed to us, and we'll definitely give the reply.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. The answer is ISO 13485 standard, which is for medical devices quality management system. It expects 3 types of software to be validated. One is the software which is used in the quality management system document itself. Like when you buy a ready-built software for use of your documentation. Second software, the software which are used in the manufacturing equipment. As Mr. Tiwari said, that is also to be validated. Third software, the software which are used in the calibration measuring equipment. Calibration of measuring equipment. If it is used, that also to be validated. For this, please refer the standard IEC 8002 for reference. Annex C provides the examples of which softwares, which are the different softwares can be, which are to be validated, what is the protocol to be followed, examples are given. That will help the industry. What Mr. Kodanraman said, it is not applicable, that is wrong answer.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Manikam.
Thank you.
Okay, friends, thank you very much. Once again, I thank the speakers and Mr. Arvind Kumar and all the delegates for attending this program. And I would also like to inform all of you that the next session is on 13th November, 4 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. And the title of that is Assessing Global Markets, Role of Private Certification in Food Industries. So that is the title of that. And that will be on 13th November. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.